Welcome back to the show, everyone, and welcome to Oblivion. As always, this week we got a classic. We're talking about a movie that I've seen 6 times. Or no, I've seen it about 600 times. We're talking about Halloween. I'm Dusty Lane.
I'm Nick Cummins.
And I'm Jason Mitchell.
And we are the Cinebytes.
Hello?
I came for you. We have such sights to show you.
It was an excellent day for an exorcism.
I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in.
I want to play a game.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was. This is God.
We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
But sometimes that is better.
All right, thanks everybody for joining the program once again. I'm Dusty Lane. We are the Cinebytes, and let's get into this fucking movie. Talking about 1978's Halloween. Directed by John Carpenter, obviously, one of the fucking greats. Oh my god, I love John Carpenter. This is actually an independent film. Compass International Pictures pushed it out, but yeah, they pretty much did this on a basic budget here and fucking killed every single bit of it.
John Carpenter brought all his friends in like George Romero and said, let's make a fucking scary movie.
Yeah, I believe that's how Nick Castle actually got the part of Michael Myers, the Shape, because he was just like, hey, I want to hang out with you on set one day. And he was like, hey, put this on.
See this mask? Put it over your head.
So I know we've seen this 1,000 times, everybody. You know, give me your quick takes on it.
It's the one that started it all, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a couple slashers before, but none took it by the balls like John Carpenter did.
Right. Texas Chainsaw kind of laid the groundwork for that, but then Halloween was the one that really pushed it into the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Jason?
I'm dwelling on my thoughts right now.
What do you say about a thing that everything's already been said about, you know?
It's very true. This is definitely, we said it about Hellraiser 2. It's a staple. It's everything kind of started here with slasher stuff. Very important to the genre. Very important that everybody is aware of this movie, which how the hell couldn't you be?
Right. Yeah. This is a movie where fans of the genre will watch this yearly, probably, if not more.
I'd say a couple times a year most of the time.
Yeah, how into it they are. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a banger from start to finish. There's a reason that it's an enduring classic, you know? And for me, it's the vibes, dude. It's just the atmosphere of this movie is fucking intense.
Nothing gets you in the spirit quite like the iconic score.
Oh my god,
I was gonna say, yeah, score is very, very important with this.
Oh yeah, all-timer. John Carpenter did it himself, obviously.
I remember being a kid hearing this theme and just sending chills down 7-year-old Nikki's underpants, like just one of those things. It's
Chills
so
in your
good.
Underpants.
Chill in my underpants.
I don't know about that.
One interesting thing about the score was obviously composed by John Carpenter, but John Carpenter's father was a music teacher in Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Oh,
Small world.
cool. I didn't know that.
BGSU, yeah. Fucking A, man. Well, yeah, let's do our little template thing we always do. Halloween 1978, directed by John Carpenter. Compass International Pictures, I mentioned. Obviously an R rating. 91 minutes. We're fucking in. We're out. Released in 1978. Our setting is the fictional Haddonfield, Illinois, of course, except for a moment when we're in Smiths Grove, Illinois, but that doesn't last too long. Not much of a plot, to be entirely honest with you. Michael fucking comes home. He's evil incarnate. We see it when he's 6 years old and he kills his sister. He gets locked away and then he wants to come home.
Death comes to your little town, sheriff.
Yeah, that's a great line I wrote down.
I feel like it's it's something to say that there's not a whole lot of story here. You know, it's almost scarier to not have all the information watching this movie.
Yeah, a lot of the sequels like to, we have to lay out every detail of who he is and why he is what he is, and he's got his sister, it's Laurie, oh man, which I always hated. John Carpenter always hated. But certain timelines followed that, certain timelines didn't give a shit, which I prefer, because I think it is scarier when there's not a reason to his rhyme, man. He's just an unstoppable killing machine.
It's like that for all the originals. You can look at other stuff that's really big and really important, like Nightmare on Elm Street. There wasn't a whole lot talked about Freddy when that movie first started, and it was terrifying. Texas Chainsaw, there's leaving some mystery there is kind of what we're missing from newer movies now.
Right.
Well, and I mean, not showing your killer until, about halfway through the movie, like the mystery brings it full circle and really makes it terrifying, I think.
Right. And I think Carpenter himself, like when trying to describe, Carpenter is kind of an aloof sort of a dude. He's, no bullshit, doesn't really buy into the media angle of things. He's just, this is what I made. It made me money. Fucking the idea that I was going for is Michael's fucking elemental, man. He's the wind, dude. He's in, he does what he needs to do, and he's out. And there is no, you can't trace him. You can't pin down anything specific about him. And I prefer that.
Yeah. Not every movie needs an in-depth analysis of the themes. I mean, John Carpenter has said in multiple interviews, like, I didn't have themes in mind. I just had a guy who was evil fucking killing babysitters. Like,
I think it was it Mustafa Akkad or Erwin Yablon's idea of like, oh, hey, babysitter murders or whatever. And then Carpenter made it Beyond Halloween. And the rest is history.
Oh, yeah. The original title, right? Wasn't it The Babysitter Murders?
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the working title or whatever. But yeah, I'm obviously Carpenter was a huge influence on why this lasts to this day. And Nick, you're like, oh yeah, not every movie needs in-depth analysis as we sit here and try to analyze it in depth. But
no, I mean that in like the superficial way, and everybody wants to attach,
significance.
Yeah, like, all of the females get killed and everything, and this is a feminist movie and everything like that. There doesn't have to be that for everything. Some
Right.
stuff is just there to eat popcorn and watch a movie and
Right.
escape.
The final girl at the end taking the killer's weapon is her taking the dick and therefore the power of the man and shoving it back into him, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay. And this movie,
I watch
honestly-
different movies for that kind of stuff. I don't watch horror for that.
Right. This movie kind of breaks some of those rules of, no sex, no drugs, whatever. Laurie's smoking weed in this movie. She's fine by the end.
They're
true.
hotboxing it. They ain't even got those windows down.
Yeah. So quick character rundown. We've got obviously Dr. Sam Loomis, which is a reference to Psycho, by the way. Sam Loomis from that movie, of course, played by Donald Pleasance, and he's just having a fucking ball in this thing, start to finish. Laurie Strode, obviously Jamie Lee Curtis. Need I say more? Three people playing Michael Myers in this one. Will Sandon is little kid Michael. Tony Moran is the guy that gets the mask pulled off of him. He's the face we see. And then, of course, the iconic Nick Castle is the Shape. As I said a little bit ago, it was kind of happenstance that he just, happened into this role because he was John Carpenter's buddy. He was in a band with him. And he was like, hey, put this on. But if it had been anyone else, it would have been a different vibe. Like his portrayal of Michael's perfect.
Yeah.
Like the robotic sort of movements and just
The head tilt, man.
the head tilt. He's
The head
always
tilt.
just chugging along. Like I buy into it completely with Castle.
Yeah, I mean, him and Donald Pleasance, like, they just bring so much to their role. This is kind of the movie that put Jamie Lee on the map.
Mm-hmm. Even though her mom was Janet Leigh and her father was Tony Curtis.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
But yeah, this movie is one of those ones that it's the reason we're all sitting here around talking about movies in general.
Yeah, honestly. We got Laurie's friends, Annie and Linda. Annie played by Credited in this movie as Nancy Loomis, interestingly enough. She's also makes an appearance in Halloween 3 as Nancy Kyes. So that's fun. Linda, played by PJ Souls, obviously. We've got Charles Cyphers as Sheriff Lee Brackett, Annie's dad. Kyle Richards and Brian Andrews. Kyle Richards is more of a known quantity these days, doing the whole Housewives show or whatever, reality TV. But yeah, Lindsay and Tommy, Lindsay Wallace, Tommy Doyle. We've got, I think Melanie Griffith's dad, Peter Griffith, is Laurie's dad in this movie. Mr. Strode. No, not Peter Griffin. We've got Sandy Johnson as Judith Myers, obviously. John Michael Graham as Bob. And Nancy Stevens is a recurring character in this franchise, obviously, Nurse Marion Chambers, which I do believe Marion, the use of that, was another reference to Psycho.
Yep.
Yeah. So fucking let's get into it just like this movie does. We open with that dope-ass credits scene. The scroll with the Michael pumpkin, the one eye obviously famously is supposed to be the shape of Michael's head, and then the nose is like the knife. Everybody knows that, but yeah, the opening credits are awesome, and the score that goes along with them is equally, if not more, awesome.
Really brings in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
You get the score, and then the first shot of the movie.
Is this the deflating pumpkin, right? The pumpkin. The pumpkin is kind of like. Which movie am I thinking of? Is that like 2018?
Yeah,
I think that might be in Halloween 2.
So this just zooms into the Michael eye
right
on the pumpkin.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's we do get the opening like nursery rhyme. We open on Halloween night 1963, obviously, and a bunch of kids saying something about witches and goblins on Halloween night, like whatever that is. Not super familiar with it, but I believe this is this the movie with the first use of the Steadicam? Wasn't it like invented by Dean Cundy, cinematographer?
I feel like there's talk about that. Somebody had said that this was the first use with camera shots like that, but I feel like I've also heard that it came from, wasn't it Peeping Tom?
Possibly. No, well, that was definitely like a POV, first use of POV maybe.
Right.
Yeah, because we've got the scenes, obviously, little kid Michael in this is spying on his sister and her boyfriend, Mr. One Pump Chump.
Yeah, I gotta say that was pretty quick in and out, right?
Dude, literally in, out, and then gone.
Hey, he's lucky, man. He would have been slaughtered too.
Yeah, little kid Michael is, I don't know why he's like apparently wandering around by himself on Halloween night.
He's out trick-or-treating, man.
On his own? I guess it was 1963. Okay,
different time then, yeah.
Right.
Not letting your kids do that now because of this.
Hell no. But yeah, he sees his sister messing around with her boyfriend on the couch, obviously. They run upstairs, and it doesn't take, but the time that it takes Michael to walk around the back of the house, walk in, grab a knife, and then get back to the stairs, essentially, and dude's walking back down, putting his shirt back on. Like, that must not have went very well.
Everybody seems happy, though, so.
He said something to piss her off after she took her clothes off, and she's like, yeah, see ya.
Well, she does mention, well, call me tomorrow. And he's like, yeah, sure. She's like, promise? He's like, yeah. He walks out. But yeah, Michael obviously walks up. He finds the little clown mask, and I love the point of view shot after he puts it on. We see like the little like cardboard template cutout of like the eyes he's looking through. And yeah, he walks up to his half naked sister, obviously. And she sees him and goes, Michael, and then he just starts stabbing her. We get the goofy shot of him. For some reason, he's stabbing her, and it's all robotic. And then while he's stabbing her, he looks up at his hand stabbing her and continues to stab her, and then looks back down. And I don't know what the fuck. That was a strange choice.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, Michael walks back downstairs and goes outside at the second that his parents are arriving back home. And this shot's goofy as hell, too, honestly. It's it's not a freeze frame because we see Michael moving the entire time, but it is like slow motion kind of.
Right.
They walk up and they go, Michael, and they pull his mask off, and it's this little kid we see, and the camera pans out from that, and they're just staring at him.
Yeah, just
for
kind of in
entirely
shock.
too long.
Yeah, it seems strange to me. I think first instinct would be to remove that 8-10-inch blade from that small child's
the
hand.
length of his fucking arm.
Covered in blood, but yeah, I really couldn't tell if it was supposed to be a freeze frame or not.
No, it's not. It's just kind of slow-mo, and they're just fucking staring at him like weirdos. Like, maybe that's the reason he's kind of fucked up, is because they're kind of fucked up.
His parents didn't care. They're like, oh, yeah, he's just playing with another knife.
Did you guys notice his mom kind of looked like Ann Dowd a little bit?
No, I
didn't notice that.
So yeah, they're staring at him. We cut to Smith's Grove, Illinois, and it's the day before Halloween, 10/30, 1978. It's an absolute downpour. Nurse Chambers is in there hotboxing the fucking car. Once again, we got people smoking in a car and like windows up. I don't know how people fucking stand doing that.
It wasn't frowned upon yet, I guess. We didn't know what we know now, and
I don't care if it was frowned upon. I'm saying smoking in a car with the windows up and you're just in a fucking fog cloud of nasty.
Can't fucking breathe.
Yeah.
different times, man. Different times.
The suffocation.
No, thank you.
Fills me.
Loomis mentions, he hasn't spoken a word in 15 years because Chambers says something about, the only thing that gets to me is their gibberish when these lunatics start rambling on about nonsense.
Yeah, and he says, like, you won't have to worry about that with Michael. He hasn't spoken a word in 15 years.
Yeah, but don't underestimate it. He keeps calling him it. She's like, what do I give him when we put him in front of the judge? And he goes, Thorazine. And she's like, well, he won't even be able to move. He's like, that's the fucking idea.
Yeah, that's the point.
Loomis has some crazy head veins going on, some curly guys. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah, he's got some crazy veins going on.
So
all the stress from dealing with Michael for 15 years.
Right. So they get to Smith's Grove Asylum, essentially, and there's a bunch of people wandering around outside, and the gate is open. Oh, shit. Here we go. Loomis gets out, and he goes up to the gate, the little
voice box,
intercom
PA,
system, something like that. Yeah. He's doing something there, and Chambers is like 50 yards behind him, kicking it in the car. And then we see Michael scurry up on top of the car like a little Spider-Man movie does. And
the part of the score that's like the dude, that puts a chill in my spine even today. Like,
yeah, every time you suddenly see Michael.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Sound design in this movie is great, top to bottom. Marion is in the car. She does end up rolling down the window a little bit, and then Michael reaches in and kind of brushes her face a little bit, and she freaks out, and she backs up to the passenger side window, all scared. And this is where you see Michael's hand come down, and clearly a giant wrench in front of his hand to break the window, because they couldn't get the window to break otherwise.
Oh, okay.
There's a wrench tied to his hand that you can fucking, look at it again, you can obviously fucking see it.
Wow.
Big old, crescent wrench. But he breaks the window. She freaks out and gets out of the car, and then Mikey fucking climbs down off of that thing. He's like a little spider monkey, man. He's so fast. And he gets in the car, fucking carjacks
the fastest
him.
we see him move in the entire movie, actually.
Right. And it's not none of that when the fucking mask is on, But yeah, he fucking carjacks him, and then Loomis starts running around ranting immediately. The evil is gone. The evil is gone from here. So we go back to Haddonfield. We see Lori's house. The car outside has a Strode Realty sign on it. That's fun. And Lori goes to walk to school that morning. But hey, don't forget, you got to drop the key off at the old Myers place. I'm trying to sell it. Tommy ends up joining her. And he's like bugging her. He knows that she's coming over to babysit later. He's like, can we do a jack-o'-lantern? Can we do popcorn? Can we do scary movies? I want to do everything. Promise me right now that we can do everything.
Excited little kid, man. He's ready for Halloween,
It was kind of fucking annoying, actually. But she drops the key off at the Myers house, and he points up at it. He's like, you're not supposed to go up there. That's a spook house. And she's like, well, yes, I am. Check this shit out. This is where Michael walks up to the door. He's already home. He walks up to the door as she drops the key off. And I think this is where, like, we're talking about it being better if it's not his sister. And he's just like, this is the scene where he imprints on this girl.
Right.
She walks up. She's the first contact that he's made with anyone. And he latches onto her. And that's why he stalks her for the rest of it.
I think it's kind of, just like, why is this bitch coming up on my house?
Right.
Get off my stoop.
Right. And he goes to chase her down to make sure it never happens again.
Yeah.
Get off my porch.
So Lonnie Elam, they mention, is the one that tells Tommy, oh, the boogeyman, all this bullshit. And she's like, Lonnie Elam probably won't get out of the 6th grade. She goes to walk away, and she starts singing this song where part of the one of the lines she sings, she goes like, just the two of us. And it's funny because Michael's standing behind her, the other part of the two of us. Loomis is talking to Dr. Wynn in the next scene, who apparently Dr. Wynn comes back into the franchise later. It's fucking goofy. I don't want to talk about it. But he's like, well, you should have told somebody. He's like, I told everybody. Nobody fucking listened to me.
Nobody's listening to Loomis already.
Yeah. He was like, well, he can't get very far. He can't drive. He's like, he was doing very well last night. Maybe someone around here gave him lessons. Like, fucking how, when, who, where, why? How would that be possible for him to get fucking driving lessons?
I think he's just a natural,
Fucking gearhead. That's why he had the wrench to break the window on the car.
Yeah, that's the big thing. They say that Haddonfield's 150 miles away. So how could he possibly make it if the guy can't drive? Said it's all natural.
Turns out he can. We get the classroom scene after this where the teacher's talking about fate. She calls on Lori thinking she's not paying attention because she's looking out the window at fucking Michael staring back at her from across the road. But Lori's a smart girl. She ends up dumping some smart girl stuff on everybody. She's like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally with you, teacher. This is all about blah, 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 and answers the question perfectly. The voice acting on the teacher's a little clunky, maybe.
Yeah.
I thought.
Movie's not about her. He's just like, hey, come in this room, spew some teacher shit, and
Right.
get out.
Right. So then after school, these bullies, including Lonnie Elam, run up and ruin Tommy's fucking enormous pumpkin that he's carrying.
Fucking dicks.
Why is he carrying that thing? It's the size of him. It's got to be so heavy.
It's probably one of those things you got to carve pumpkins in school, and maybe because he's getting picked on all the time, he kind of got the shit end of the stick.
I guess, yeah. And he ends up falling on it and squishes it. That sucks.
Nobody likes a squished pumpkin.
But yeah, they're fucking with him at this point. It was like, the boogeyman. Oh, he's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. Like, why did they fucking say it like that? That always bothered me.
Just teasing kids,
Just a little sing-songy kind of a thing.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Said once again a nod to the age of this movie,
Yeah, that's fair. But that is where is it Tommy that gets the run-in with Michael, and there's that great music sting once again?
Yeah, he bumps right into him.
Okay. So yeah, and then Michael starts stalking him, like driving slowly, creeping on him with the car.
He's pretty good at that. There's a whole lot of that happening in this movie,
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. He is a fucking natural with that thing.
Dude, does he just go back to the school because he was school age when he lost his marbles? Is that why he's just going up to see what the kids are up to nowadays? Or
maybe he's just in the area because he was following Lori. She was at this
she's
school.
At school
Maybe it's
too,
like a K through 12 sort of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like a larger campus. They're walking through outside hallways with lockers in it and stuff.
Which is how we can tell this is actually California.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and Michael had seen Tommy at this point too. Tommy was with Lori at the house,
that's
so
true.
he's already got a connection.
Okay. All right, fair enough. This is about the time we get the Loomis in the telephone booth scene, which another little local reference here. Did you guys notice the Libby Glass factory outlet sign behind the phone booth?
I did not. No,
Dude, fuck yeah, Libby Glass. I had a bunch of relatives that worked there, man.
Oh, wow. So Libby Glass is a local Toledo
Mm-hmm.
glass business.
Yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah, and yeah, apparently Haddonfield, Illinois had a fucking outlet. It was super cool seeing that sign. I was like,
Wow.
yeah! That was the first time I ever noticed it.
Nice grab.
But yeah, he's talking to someone about like, oh yes, the evil is coming to your town. I've warned you. You can do what you want with that information, but I'm on my way. Whatever. This is where he sees the Rabbit and Red Lounge matchbook.
Right, which was from the earlier scene in the car before he stole
Mm-hmm.
the car and got his getaway.
Well, they must have been Marion's matches.
Yes,
right.
Yes, they were. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So what's she doing at the Rabbit and Red Lounge? That sounds like a fucking burlesque club or something. Is she dancing or watching?
Hey, she's trying to have a good time, man.
I
Leave
think
her
this
alone.
is
Letting loose.
This is just showing that he confirmed that Michael was there because the matchbook was in the car that he stole,
Mhm.
and then the matchbook was in the truck that he just found.
Right. So that's how we can tell that he was there. Loomis does see the Phelps garage truck
Right.
that is abandoned, or so he thinks, but he does see like the hospital gowns and
Right.
stuff.
Totally
Which-
misses the dead body.
He doesn't see the dead body, but the camera pans back to it, and we see the naked mechanic laying over there missing his jumpsuit.
Right.
Wonder where that is. We go back to the girls walking around, and Linda fucking hates books.
I was gonna say Linda's just being bitchy.
Totally.
She's just like, yeah, you nerd, Lori. You gonna watch a movie with the kids?
Totally.
Totally, Lori.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a direction or if it was just the 70s. And that's fucking half of her lines are totally.
And the other half is groovy.
I didn't catch any groovies in this. I was listening pretty intently, but yeah, she totally says totally too much.
Dusty can't stop saying it now.
Yeah, it's like that fucking Dexter's Lab episode where all he can say is "omelette du fromage." But Annie joins them. She's like, "Hey, jerks, why didn't you wait for me?" And Linda's like, "We did 15 minutes. You totally never showed." Linda ends up mentioning at some point in this conversation that the only reason Annie babysits is to have a place to, and then it interrupts and Lori says shit. And Annie's like, well, I have a place for that. But yeah, fucking Mikey's driving by in that station wagon, and I don't know why she says this, but it actually comes back later in the movie. I never noticed before too. He drives by at what I feel is a reasonable speed for that road.
Slow down.
Yeah, she yells out, "Speed kills." And then, yeah, later it's referenced too, like, oh, hey, you remember that guy that drove by us super fast? Like, no, I fucking don't, because that didn't happen.
He was driving 5 miles an hour, Annie.
But yeah, speed kills, and then he fucking stops in the middle of the road. And obviously Lori's fucking scared. She's like, you're going to get us all into a lot of trouble one day.
Boy, is she. That day is today.
Well, was it her that did it, or was it Lori walking up to the house and being like, hey, look at me, Michael, come and get it, ringing the dinner bell?
That's a good way to put it.
But the Linda is the first one that breaks off the group. She reaches her house first. She's got these crazy fucking platform shoes on. Once again, it's the 70s, but damn, these things look uncomfortable, first of all.
Right.
This is where we get Mikey behind the bushes, and Lori sees him. Andy doesn't, and she's like, "Hey, yeah, that guy's over there." This is where, the
He
guy that
wants
drove
to
by us.
talk to you, Lori.
Yeah. I didn't notice at this point. There's, I think it's when Annie ends up breaking off and she gets home. There's a leaf, and I think it was because of the copy of this movie that you let me borrow, Jason. It's a Blu-ray. All I ever had watching this movie was my shitty old DVD that I've had since I was like 13.
Right.
But there's a little leaf stuck in her hair, which is funny because the leaves that they used for this movie were all like painted and reused after every shot because it's fucking California.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, she's got one of them stuck in her hair. So yeah, we do get the whole he wants to talk to you, and then Annie goes, "Oh man, you're fucking losing it, Lori. Like you're seeing guys behind bushes now. You need to get out."
Another one of those, let's bully the nerdy kid.
Mm-hmm. So after Annie gets home, Lori turns around and runs into her dad, who's also coming home, who's Sheriff Brackett, and she, jumps when he turns around. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. It's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare," which is a fucking line that will now haunt me forever after seeing Halloween Kills.
Oh yeah. We don't want to stray too far onto the other path of the 13 installments of this fucking movie.
But son of a bitch, man, why would he say that line again? He didn't say it to Michael. That line doesn't fucking mean anything to Michael.
Right.
But anyway, back to this movie. Yeah, everyone's entitled to one good scare. Obviously, it was a good line back then. Obviously, there's a reason it hung around, but let's fucking put it to bed at this point. So Lori sees a bunch of trick-or-treaters. She mentions to herself, when she gets home, she hears what she thinks is like either screaming or whining. It's a negative sound, whatever it is she's hearing. But she goes to check on it, and she sees the trick-or-treaters and stuff. Apparently that was the noise. And then she's like, "Oh, I thought you outgrew superstition," kind of talking to herself. But doesn't really matter. If you've outgrown it, it fucking finds you.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out in this movie.
He's already calling her up. "How you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
"I'm outside."
Which, yeah, dude, he's on her like a fly on shit because she goes upstairs and he's like, he even knows which fucking room is hers somehow.
Yeah, he's figured out everything already.
He's standing out by the clothesline, staring up at her window, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Like, and then she closes the window.
Like that's gonna make him go away.
Well, it didn't even like really break eye contact, but then all of a sudden it cuts back to him and he's gone. Weird.
It's his MO, dude.
He's
creepy.
He's there and he's not. Yeah, creepy.
He's the wind that was blowing those sheets on the clothesline.
Hey, that's an iconic shot, man. That's like one of my favorite shots in the movie where
1,000%.
the sheets are blowing and he's just standing there. The leaves are blowing by him. Like,
which I know we've mentioned the name already, but like one of the reasons that you have to watch this movie yearly is because of the input of Dean Cundy. Holy shit. Every shot in this movie is beautiful. Everything is amazingly lit, perfectly framed. Just like everything's soft when it needs to be soft. Everything's, sharp when it needs to be sharp. God damn, he is one of the best.
it's another one of those movies that watching it today on 4K looks like the movie was made yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Actually, like when I came online completely of being a horror fan, I was watching Jurassic Park another time, and I was like, "Oh fuck, Dean Cundy! He fucking shot that one too! Hell yeah!" But yeah, he's the man, obviously. So she's staring out the window, and she ends up getting a call while she's standing in her room full of smart people stuff. And the first time she answers the phone, there's no one there. Or like because of the subtitles, I saw that she heard crunching sounds, which whatever the fuck that means. But turns out Annie was just being an asshole, calling someone when she wasn't ready to talk yet. And she didn't answer her. And so Lori hangs up the phone, and then Annie calls her right back. And she's like, "Hey, why'd you hang up on me?" "Well, because you didn't fucking talk."
Yeah, it's just, quit munching on your potato chips, Annie.
Yeah, man. Sorry, I was hungry or whatever. So after this, she kind of lays down on the bed when she gets off the phone with Annie, and she's like, kind of trying to get it together. Like, "You're being crazy. You're not seeing shit. Like, just calm down. Everything's fine." And then cuts to her outside carrying another enormous jack-o'-lantern, which these guys are doing it wrong, man. You need to fucking...
Get a wagon.
Yeah, it's the 70s. I know there are radio flyers all over the place. Come on. But yeah, she's sitting on like a little mini column on the corner, just looking around, checking out the scene, the trick-or-treaters, all trick-or-treating in the daytime, which I hate. And I hate that has to be a thing. I feel like when I was younger and I was trick-or-treating, it was always either dark or getting dark.
Yeah, I mean, I have good memories of, trick-or-treating into the night.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, like you said, it might have been starting to get dark, but by the time I was done, fucking street lamps are on, like you barely seeing anything.
Well, it seemed like it didn't really take long into trick-or-treating for it to get dark so that you could enjoy all of everyone's decorations. Like, it sucks walking around and seeing everybody's stuff in the daytime when it's barely lit, as far as your perspective is concerned,
Right.
But anyway, yeah, she's sitting on the corner watching all that kind of stuff, and Annie picks her up in her mom's car. She mentions, "Oh, hey, I'm going to come pick you up. My mom's letting me borrow the car," or whatever. Immediately, they start smoking weed.
I was going to say, they're smoking up mom's car.
Mm-hmm. And while they're driving, I believe, not quite at this part, but pretty soon, the next time it shows them in the car, I believe Don't Fear the Reaper is playing in the background.
And Michael is trailing closely too.
Yeah, you see the
super
car
close.
like right on their fucking bumper.
How do they not notice that this same fucking car has been following them for miles?
Obviously, they don't have the road rage I have.
I'd be like, get the fuck off my ass.
Brake checking them.
Go around.
might be the joint too,
Yeah, that's also true. Maybe it was a thing where they're just driving slow because
a little too high.
It's just high.
Michael actually was trying to get around them. She was just all over the place.
I can't pass. Get over.
It would have been funny. Michael leaning out the window, fucking shaking a fist or whatever.
Flipping them off.
We need Michael Myers of Decatur to come around. Like, have you guys seen those videos?
No.
Oh, dude, it's so good. Like, all over Facebook, I see him. Michael Myers of Decatur. He's going around and doing all these fucking, random events. His wife keeps on calling him an idiot. It's great.
Okay.
And his son joins in too in a tiny Michael Myers costume.
Oh, okay. I've seen like the father and son thing, so
Yeah.
I have seen the video then.
Okay, yeah. This is about the time Loomis visits Judith Myers' grave, and I'm not really sure why. Is he just trying to get insight into, maybe if I visit these certain locations, I'll have special insight into the way Michael thinks, and I'll be able to find him, maybe?
I think he's just hidden places he might be.
Right.
I don't think he's like trying to gain any insight or anything. He's just like, well, maybe he went and visited his sister.
I guess I wouldn't figure that he would do that. I don't know. But okay. While we are at the cemetery, the grave keeper here, with the groundskeeper of the cemetery, ends up telling another story about some guy named Charlie Bowles.
The old hacksaw story.
Yeah, dude. He's like, oh yeah, this guy, they had dinner and he kissed his family and then he went out to the garage and grabbed a hacksaw and Loomis ain't having it. He fucking interrupts him. He's like, hey, where are we? Can we just get down to business here, please? He was like, oh yeah, Judith Myers, row 18, lot 20, right here. It's supposed to be, and there's a fucking hole in the ground.
It's like everybody knows where Judith Myers' grave is. It's like, oh, yep, got it right here.
I mean, it's this guy's job to know. But
Yeah.
I think he actually is looking at a paper in this scene, isn't he?
I think so.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. But yeah, he's like, oh, damn kids playing Halloween pranks. What kind of a fucking Halloween prank is stealing a headstone?
Not to mention just the travel.
Yeah.
You're not picking up a headstone,
putting it on your back,
shoulder, and
right?
taking a stroll with it. You
And
know
that's
what I mean?
another testament to how fucking inhumanly strong Michael is,
Right.
to even lift that fucking thing.
Right.
That's got to be fucking 600 pounds or some shit.
Getting it out there without anybody seeing.
Right.
Yeah, carries it through town. Hey,
Yeah.
Michael
he
had the radio
station
fly.
wagon.
yeah, it could have went the station. I like to think that he carried it over his head.
I do like that image too.
One-handed, you know.
He's just holding it down by his side like a book. So the headstone being gone clues Loomis in. Oh, he came home.
No, he's here.
Yeah.
He's here somewhere.
Annie's, I think, on the phone again, maybe with Lori or something. Or no. She's in the car talking about what they're going to do that night, because Lori's talking about, I got to babysit. Oh, I got to babysit too. My plan is to watch Dr. Dementia and watch Lindsay lose her fucking mind over these horror movies. Like, why are you an asshole? This is where they have the little run-in with the sheriff. At the hardware store, the alarm's going off in the background.
Shit, it's my dad. Get
Yeah.
rid of the weed.
Yeah.
Right. Which there's no fucking hope. Why did you choose to stop? You didn't have to stop and talk to him, right?
Nope.
She fucking did it to herself.
I kind of laughed at that whole situation because they ditched the joint real quick and then pull up, roll down the windows.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, how's it going?
Oh, guaranteed he smelled that shit.
Right, yeah.
Your dad's a fucking cop. Like, he's not completely oblivious.
Yeah.
You girls have fun now.
You have new perfume on? What is that?
Yeah, and she's has to kind of yell at him like, "What happened?" Because the fucking alarm's still going off behind him. He's like, "Oh, some kids broke in." And she's like, "You think everything's always kids?" And he's like, "Well, they broke in. All they took was a Halloween mask, some rope, and a couple of knives. Who do you think it was?" And she, the conversation continues a little bit, and he goes, "Well, aren't you going to be late?" And she goes, "What?" Because she still can't hear him. Boom, the alarm cuts out, and he's like, "Aren't you going to be late?" And she goes, he shouts too. But yeah, I can't imagine a world where he didn't smell the weed coming out of that car.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So as soon as they drive away, Loomis walks up, pretty convenient fucking timing. He's like, "Oh, Sheriff, I need to talk to you." And he's like, "All right, well, I got some shit to deal with right now. I'm kind of in the middle of something if you hadn't noticed."
Yeah.
But he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll wait." And then he's like, "Okay, I should be about 10 minutes or whatever." Meanwhile, Mikey's in the background fucking driving right behind Loomis,
Sitting
like,
at the stop sign.
yeah.
Going right after Lori again, though.
Yeah.
That car took off, and no more than a minute or two later,
Oh, yeah.
Mikey's hot on their trail again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, this Blu-ray that you gave to me, I did notice a lot more clearly that he's like, I love seeing all of the images of Mike obeying traffic laws, and he's fucking like, "Oh, let me look left, look right, look left again. Okay, the coast is clear," which has got to be hard to tell in that fucking mask.
Yeah. Yeah. His range of motion and his viewpoint is not great in that
Right.
Inside Out William Shatner mask.
I was gonna say I also enjoy the thought of him like pretending to be William Shatner while he's in it, like, "Oh, the traffic is light today." So yeah, Loomis is waiting. Mikey drives by. This is where we get the whole conversation with Annie and Lori about Ben Tramer, who fucking gets it in the next movie. You guys realize that? You know the story about all that?
I did not know.
No? Okay, so Halloween 2, right? The guy that's like, they're trying to stop. I think Loomis sees him, and he's like, "Oh, stop right there." And he pulls his gun out on him. And this guy's walking across the road in like a blue jumpsuit and a Michael Myers mask, but it has
yeah.
blonde hair or something.
Right.
And he fucking gets smashed into by a car,
Oh.
blows up. That's fucking Ben Tramer.
Holy shit.
But I think it retcons it in the newer movies where that didn't actually happen. Halloween 2 actually didn't happen in the newer, like 2018 through ends
Right.
timeline.
Right.
So do with that what you will, I suppose. But yeah, this is where I wrote down again, how did they not notice Michael following them? He's on their ass.
Oh, yeah. And into the next scene, too, kind of realizing that Michael's car was there the whole time
Mm-hmm.
makes sense for the rest of the movie, because right now he's watching everybody get dropped off,
Mhm.
where they're going for the night, where they're going to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Which, speaking of the night, this is Halloween. I don't think we mentioned it changed over, but yeah, this is when Annie and Lori are getting back to, respectively, the Doyles and the Wallace houses. And Michael gets out of the car, and he's just like robotically moving across the street, and he latches onto Annie first, actually, who walks up to the Wallace's house, and they leave immediately, and he's like just kind of hiding behind a tree, like, "Oh, hope they don't see me." Like, that's always
Just taking out the joint.
yeah. So Loomis and Brackett, we go back to them, and they got a bit of a buddy cop thing going on at this point. They go to check out the Myers house, and they see a dog laying in the fucking living room, like half eaten. Loomis is like, he got hungry for a fucking dog?
yeah, dude, gross.
I mean, he can't stop at a Wendy's in the way he looks. Like, he's got to eat something.
But 150 miles, who knows how much gas that station wagon started with. He never stops. that we see, but like, I don't know. Seems to me that maybe he should have stopped for gas at least once during that. Or maybe he got a can out of the Phelps garage truck.
There you go. He doesn't have any money, Dustin.
Yeah, that's true.
I know he doesn't, but he also murders people.
He murdered the gas station attendant. Why didn't he take some corn nuts or something?
Once again, Halloween 2018, we got fucking hit. Yeah, he rips that dude's fucking jaw off in the gas station.
Yeah, he does.
God damn, I love that movie.
2018 is very good.
Yeah, Kills and Ends makes me sad because of how fucking phenomenal I thought 2018 was. Anyway, we're doing it again. We're getting off track. So they go upstairs, Loomis and Brackett, and they walk into Judith's room, and he's like, "Oh, it happened in here," and he's like, telling him the story about
We get
Michael.
the flashback, yeah.
Yep, stabbing his sister. And I realized at this point that, speaking of Halloween Kills, the flashback that they do in that movie of the 1978 scene in the beginning is really, really fucking well done. I can't hate on that movie completely.
Yeah. Well, I think that movie also has some creative kills, and
Oh, for sure.
the movie's not.
But the best part of it, bar none, is that fucking 1978 flashback.
Yeah.
They fucking, oh my God, it's so good.
Shot for shot.
So good. And the Loomis that's in that, like, people thought it was like a deep fake, but it was like one of the guys on the crew that just happened to look exactly like Donald Pleasence.
Yeah, it was just a completely different actor. It's pretty cool.
So yeah, he goes into the devil's eyes monologue. He's like, I dealt with this kid for 15 years. I spent 7 years trying to reach him, and then another 8 trying to keep him locked up because I realized what was behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil. And, that whole thing. He said, blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, of course. We all know the fucking lines. But
I don't like how much shade you're putting on Donald Pleasence right now.
how much shade? I'm not saying that at all. What are you talking about? I'm not throwing shade.
He gives one of the best performances in the movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, he's a little bit of a Looney Tune, but it's because from everyone
he's
else's
been dealing with
perspective.
the Looney Tunes, yeah.
But yeah, it's because, A, he's been exposed to all of it, and B, he's maybe a little bit out of his mind because his sole purpose in life is to get this fucking dude back behind bars.
Yeah.
Period. So, in the spirit of that, Loomis ends up staying behind at the Myers house. And Brackett fucks off to do whatever.
Well, Brackett says something about like, well, I do still have a job to do. Like,
Right.
I can't go around chasing the boogeyman with you all day.
Right. You'll regret that, Sheriff. We go back to Lori and Tommy, and Lori is reading King Arthur, and Tommy's like, get this whack shit out of here, pull out the comic books. And he hides them under the couch because his mom doesn't want him to have him. So, like, what, under the couch? I don't know. What if they get sucked up in the vacuum or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. Certainly not going to be one of those comic books they find that's worth millions of dollars today. That's for sure.
Yeah, seriously. What is it? Tarantula Man, Neutron Man,
Yeah.
all the mans, the boogeyman. So Annie calls and Lori answers, and she's while she's talking, Annie's talking to Lori. The dog is freaking out. Lester, the dog, the big German Shepherd. And she says, oh, I'm the only one that he doesn't like. But no, he's losing his mind about something outside, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's not that he doesn't like you. He's not barking at you. He's standing beside you and barking at the fucking door or window or whatever.
We all know why he's barking.
Oh, for sure. This is where Annie we get the story that she outed fucking Lori to Ben. And Lori's fucking mortified. She's like, well, no, it worked. He likes you too. Like, everything's okay. But like, still,
Why'd
man,
you have to tell him that?
yeah, don't be spreading my fucking business, But I guess if she didn't do it, Lori never would have. So, she's trying to help out a friend, I guess. She's not completely shitty. I think she's mostly shitty, but not completely shitty.
Yeah, she's trying to help her out.
There's a pretty fucking amazing shot of the boogeyman across the street, just standing there staring at the Doyles. Tommy sees him out the window, and Michael's just, standing there staring at the house. And it's fucking great. Atmosphere, vibes, this whole movie, man.
Oh, yeah. He's about to make his first move, and unfortunately, Tommy's seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Annie's on the phone, and she, like, I don't like this part because she clearly just throws shit all over herself.
Yeah, yeah. She
Like,
just
it's-
lets it all fall onto her shirt.
Obviously intentional, right? But then she decides that she has to get completely fucking naked, which and she's not wearing a bra, everybody. It's the fucking 70s. Nobody wears bras. But yeah, she fucking like disrobes completely except for her underwear. And then she puts a random shirt on, which must be Mr. Wallace's, I guess. It's like a button down.
It never occurred to me until we're going over this right now that it's not her house. So she's just throwing on clothes she finds at the Wallace house.
But then she has to go fucking she goes and does her laundry in this like outbuilding shed where the fucking laundry stuff is. That's kind of weird.
I'd talked about this too, that it seemed kind of strange, but once again, the 70s seemed like it was almost like a laundry room off of the garage.
Yeah, maybe.
Which kind of makes sense. I guess it really depends on your profession, but you know, like a mud room or a washroom coming
Sure.
in from hunting,
Sure,
it's just something that we don't do anymore, you know?
probably. But I mean, can you imagine doing your laundry in the winter? That'd fucking suck.
Right.
Another dead giveaway that this wasn't actually
Yeah, it's
Illinois.
not Illinois.
Right.
This is a rich person's house.
We get some really good dog acting here because this dog fucking like we see the a shot of like its bottom half basically, and Michael's like holding it, assumedly by the neck, and as he like chokes this fucking dog out, the dog like slowly goes limp, and it's like I'm fucking proud of that. That's a good boy. He did a
Yeah,
good
what's
job.
his name?
You know, I didn't actually see. I don't know if they put it in the credits. I doubt they did.
It's the same dog from Lassie too.
I don't think that's the right kind of dog.
Rest in peace to the dog.
Yeah. He was
Purely showing Michael is evil incarnate.
He was a good boy. We go back to Lori and Tommy, and they are watching on TV Howard Hawks'
The Thing.
The Thing from Another World, which a few years later John Carpenter would then remake, and is one of the greatest fucking movies of all time as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very cool. I don't know, Easter egg, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, before it was even an Easter egg, John Carpenter made it an Easter egg by making The Thing.
The
Right.
But Tommy honestly wants no part of it. He keeps trying to like distract Lori and get her to do something else. He's like, "What about the jack-o'-lantern? What about anything? What? Can we not watch this fucking movie, please?"
What are you scared?
Oh, he's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. But yeah, he wants to do fucking anything else. This is where he says something about, "Oh yeah, the kids are telling me about the boogeyman." She's like, "Well, I'm here. I'm not about to let anything happen to you." So,
She's a good babysitter.
oh yeah,
Tommy, I'm not going to let anything happen to you.
no,
That's why your
she's
parents tired me.
she's another one like we talked about. Jade and Talk to Me with good maternal instinct. She's a good person to have around in this situation where she's level-headed. Obviously, she's not my favorite final girl, I've mentioned before, but it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that she reacts the way she reacts with Tommy. Their interactions are very genuine. So we've got Mikey stalking Annie in the laundry shed. And he slams the door on it, which then locks her in, which is kind of strange. Is there like a lock on the outside for some reason? What are you trying to keep in, man?
When she's on the phone, this is still when she's on the phone with Lori, right?
Yeah,
She's still out there? 'Cause
No,
doesn't
she's
she
not
take
on the
it?
phone when she's in the laundry shed. There's not a phone out there.
Okay.
But yeah, he slams the door. She gets locked in. Lindsay, who is also watching The Thing, is in there when the phone rings, and it's Paul trying to get a hold of Annie, and Annie's just yelling inside, "Lindsay, answer the phone! It's Paul!" That kind of thing.
I like the whole atmosphere of this scene because you don't really know what's going to happen yet.
You just
And
know she's in danger.
Well, and you can kind of tell that it's playing as something's going to happen to Annie in that laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
So you're waiting, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Which it probably should have because she's a fucking idiot. Like, she gets stuck in the window? How do you do that?
And the little kid gets her unstuck too.
Yeah, all she does is move her foot out of a rack. Like, you could have definitely gotten yourself out of that situation, Annie. She's a fucking dunce, man.
Well, so one of the things I noticed for the first time was as she's walking out the door of the laundry shed, you can actually see Michael in the back looking through the second door.
Yeah.
I'd never noticed that before. I was like, oh, damn, there he is.
Yeah, he's like
Okay.
on one side of it where the door is, and then he walks around to the other side where the window is.
Yeah, it's like you can see like half of his face just watching Annie walk back into the house.
Mm-hmm. But when Lindsay answered the phone when Paul called, and she's like, yeah, Annie's here somewhere, and she's out doing her laundry or whatever, and he's like, well, can you go get her? She must have fucking just hung up on him and then walked outside to go find Annie stuck in the window, because the phone rings again when they walk back inside. And Annie's like, don't tell anybody about this. Immediately when she picks up the phone, she's like, she'll be right here. She got stuck in the window. And once again, Mikey's standing outside while she's on the phone with Paul. And Annie's so fucking horny in this. She's like, you know, why don't we stop talking about these things and get down to doing them? Like standing there half naked, you know? So she ends up making a deal with Lindsay, and she's like, well, what do you think about going to watch TV with Tommy Doyle? What if I could do that? And she's like, yeah, all right.
You want to go hang out with Lori?
While I fuck in your parents' house? So she takes Lindsay across the street to Tommy's. There's another great music sting when Mikey is beside the car, and then like as soon as they walk by, he stands up. It was another one of those kind of things. Annie's still running around outside in her underwear, which, you know, maybe not the greatest idea, especially when we've got people like Mike hanging around. There's probably other people that have other ideas rather than murdering you. I love Tommy's karate gi. Like, he's in this fucking costume all night. And I don't know if he like does karate or if that's just his Halloween costume, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't think I really noticed that. I'm gonna guess that, yeah, he's probably dressed up for Halloween, right?
Yeah, probably. Which Lindsay doesn't seem to be, which is fun. She's just wearing like a dress, you know. We get the name drop of the thing actually. In the background is the whatever Dr. Dementia, I guess, is the host of this movie marathon, and he's like, and now the horrifying conclusion to The Thing, you know. Lori wants Annie to call Ben Tramer back and be like, look, JK, Lori didn't say anything. I'm an asshole. Sorry. But Annie's, you know, obviously not having it. She goes back across the street and launches into her little Paul song, which is one of the better parts of the movie, too. Oh, Paul. And she gets to the car and she's like, no keys, but please. So she comes back after getting the keys, which she went to go get because the door of the car was locked. Right? She comes back and she just opens the car door without unlocking it.
Right. I definitely noticed that.
Which, yeah, suggested like, who unlocked that fucking door?
Right. She gets right in and realizes that the windows are kind of fogged up. So she starts to wipe her fingers on the windows like, why is it warm in here? And as soon as that happens, we get old Mikey.
Oh, yeah.
Sting and the rope around her neck.
Yeah, he starts choking her, and her death acting is a little goofy. She's making some pretty silly faces. Yeah. Not trying super hard to get away. I feel like she could have sold that a little better.
It's 2 fingers under the rope. Put the seat back.
Right. But yeah, he's choking her for a minute. I love every time he starts attacking someone, he gets excited and he's like,
He like grunts. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Right.
breathing and shit. But yeah, Annie gets choked, and then I didn't really notice until this watch, but he does bring up the knife and like slit her throat, which it doesn't seem like that's happening because it happens sort of to the side. But later when we see her laying in the bed with the headstone above her, we see
Her throat's
a slash across her throat. Yeah. So her dead body lays on the horn, but old Mikey My doesn't let that happen for too long. Because obviously he doesn't want people fucking attracted to this. This is where Tommy tries to trick Lindsay. They're sitting there watching the thing, and he's sitting right next to her, but like all of a sudden he gets an idea in his head, and he like springs up, standing right next to her, and she can totally fucking see him. And then he sneaks behind the couch, and she can totally fucking see him.
Yeah.
And then he goes back behind the curtain, and then like barely tries to hide himself, and he's like, "Ooh, Lindsay," like trying to scare her. he's so terrible at this, but guess what? She's fucking worse because she like gets up like, what, Tommy? Where are you? What happened? And then she fucking ends up like backing into him, and they scare each other. Which I don't know why Tommy screams. He's the fucking one instigating this all. Actually, that's a lie. I do know why Tommy screams, because he stops paying attention to his own prank, and then he looks back out the window and sees fucking Michael carrying Annie's body
Inside
back into the house. Yeah.
The tension in the scene is really good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's all fun and games for a second, but then it's like, hey, don't forget, there is a fucking killer outside.
Right. And this is where we get Tommy going like, oh, nobody believes me.
I got a rock.
Yeah. Yeah, Lori walks up and she's like, why are you scaring Lindsay, you asshole? Like, nobody believes me. And then Lindsay's like, I believe you, Tommy. Like, really? Why? This is where Loomis is fucking creeping outside of the Myers house. And then Lonnie and his couple of buddies walk up, and they're like, oh, yeah, go up onto the fucking porch. Go ring the doorbell or whatever.
Dare you to go in.
Yeah, and then Lonnie starts to walk up, and then we get Loomis's great fucking delivery of, hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there. And then dude, the kids run off, and he looks so fucking pleased with himself.
Oh, he's so proud.
His eyes are so wide, and he's smiling like, ooh, I got him. I
feel
guess
like
everyone
this is,
deserves one good scare.
This is the only time that we see anything out of the ordinary from Loomis at all. Like a smile.
Yeah.
He's always all business. So
this
to
is
see
the
this
only
side,
time we see his eyes opened past halfway.
right.
So he then turns around and gets scared himself by Brackett, who sneaks up on him, kind of.
Right.
And Brackett's like, you look, man, I don't know. I think you're way off on this shit. All that's happening so far is some kids playing Halloween pranks, trick-or-treating, parking, getting high. Like, nothing out of the ordinary, okay?
He's talking about his daughter there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, you're not doing very much to convince me. He's like, what more do you want? And then Brackett goes to say something, and then Loomis just launches into another diatribe, and as soon as he does, Brackett's like, oh, fuck, here we go again. He's like, I watched this boy for 15 years, Sheriff, and all this shit. This is where we get the evil has come to your town, Sheriff. Great line. And then, yeah, he's like, Brackett's just like, more fancy talk. I don't want to hear it.
That's 70s way of thinking, like, mental health isn't a real profession.
Right. Loomis drops something about Mike being inhumanly patient, waiting for this night specifically. Like, did he marked it off on the calendar, Halloween 1978, like, this is when I'm making my big break. So Brackett's basically like, look, man, if you're right, then this situation sucks. Or if you're wrong, you're an idiot, essentially. But if you're right, damn you for letting him go. So Loomis can't fucking win.
Right.
That's where we go to Bob and Linda in the fucking Scooby-Doo van.
Oh, yeah. Right on cue.
Yeah. There's fucking beer cans rattling around the floor of this thing and everything.
It's big Scooby-Doo vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I think just the year, you know.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Jinkies.
And that's where we get the fucking insight into Bob being a fucking creep. Because he's like,
yeah. Oh, my God. I don't know how I don't remember
dude,
this joke from watching this movie so many times, but for some reason, it really stood out this time through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He goes, I'm going to rip your clothes off. Then you rip my clothes off. Then we'll rip Lindsay's clothes off. Like, dude, she's fucking like 12.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
It just always went over my head. Yeah, he's talking about a, I don't know, 8-10-year-old child.
Yeah. More fancy talk.
More fancy talk.
But of course, Linda reacts with her patented totally. They get out of the van. Beer cans fall out all over the street. Like, once again, different fucking time.
They've been partying it up all night.
Right. Mike watches him fool around on the couch, and I'm wondering, is he having flashbacks here of his sister fooling around on the couch?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like almost 1-for-1 mirror shot.
Right.
The couch is on the opposite side of the room.
Yeah.
But Steve's on top of Linda, and did I say the right names there?
No, it was
I
Bob.
didn't. Bob.
You're going back to Hellraiser?
I did,
Steve?
yeah. Jesus. Fucking blank there.
So this is where Linda gets the information that Lindsay's not coming back for the night. And she's like, oh, that's fucking fantastic. Let's go fuck. And we go back to the Doyles and we get the little jack-o'-lantern procession. Laurie's carrying their jack-o'-lantern out and go, ooh, and she looks outside and sees Bob's van outside of Annie's. She's like, oh, fucking everybody's having a good time tonight, except me. Okay, so this is where the call comes in. Linda talks to Laurie, where's Annie? Lindsay's not coming back for the night. I made a note about the lighting in this movie is just fucking gorgeous. Like in the kitchen downstairs when Bob goes down to get a beer after they get done doing their thing, like there's just like blue light filtering in from, various places. And I don't know, just the play between light and shadow in this movie is really nice.
Yeah, they did a really good job. Like you said, the blues, everything's really dark. The scenes are dark, but there's just enough light to where you can actually see what's going on still.
Right. So Bob and Linda are upstairs fucking next to a jack-o'-lantern for some reason on a nightstand, which is
why do they have a jack-o'-lantern burning inside next to them while they bang?
Halloween, boys. Halloween.
All right, I guess.
Got to be in the spirit.
Like, why not wear the jack-o'-lantern? Do a little role play. But Bob can't keep it up, unfortunately. He keeps getting distracted by the phone ringing. And then this time it rings and he's like, let's take it off the hook. He rolls like back onto her and they fuck for like no more than a minute. Like everybody, no dude in this movie can hold his shit.
Say that's all Bob needs.
We see a shadow of Michael walk by. But yeah, he rolls off of her and she goes, oh, fantastic. Like, was it really? Is that all it takes for you, Linda? Yeah, totally. She tells Bob to go get me a beer, which he thought she meant she was going to get him a beer, but no, the other way around. But we get Bob dropping the line. I was
going to say the infamous line. Mm-hmm. You never say you'll be right back because you're not going to be right back.
See you in the kitchen with a knife. Speaking of which, Bob does go to the kitchen, and the door to the backyard is once again open. So he starts like yelling around. He's thinking Linda's fucking with him. Maybe it's Annie. He goes at one point, Linda, you asshole. And he's like opening various doors and stuff. And then fucking Michael just explodes out of this closet at him. Fucking lifts him up with one hand, pins him to the wall. We all know the fucking scene. And that's where we get the infamous head tilt, of course. Fucking classic. Mike is a machine, obviously.
Big thing about this scene is, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but there's no blood at all in this scene.
Mm-mm.
Not one drop.
Yeah. I mean, which goes to show you don't need all that stuff necessarily, as long as you're selling, what
to kill,
what you're
right,
after. Right. So actually, I'd always said that he pinned him to the wall, but he actually pins him to like the pantry doors, I guess.
Yeah, it's a door.
Yeah. So that's where we get the greatest fucking Halloween costume of all time, Ghost Bob.
Ghost Bob.
Michael takes his fucking glasses and he's got the sheet over him, doing the whole sheet ghost thing. But obviously Linda thinks it's Bob. I always kind of wanted to go on Halloween as Ghost Bob.
I think about it every year.
Do you?
I do. And I've never done it, but every year I'm like, do I go as Ghost Bob this year?
Might be time. Let's see here. Oh, while he's standing in the doorway there, PJ Souls takes her like sheet down and she's like, see anything you like? And I don't know, I always kind of thought, not really. You're not packing a whole lot there, PJ.
No response.
I guess that's insensitive of me. Yeah, she's like, you can't answer me? All right, well, don't answer me then.
Fine.
She goes, don't I get your ghost? But then she gets pissed off. She gets up and goes to the phone. She's like, oh, I'm calling Lori. This is going nowhere. Like, what do you mean it's going nowhere? You already did your thing.
Yeah, you remember? You said it was amazing.
Yeah, fantastic.
Didn't she say, where's my beer? And she's like, where's my beer?
Yeah. When Lori gets on the phone, there's some pretty excellent music here. That's where we get the dun, da dun, dun on the piano. Fucking great. And obviously Linda's choked with the phone cord. Lori thinks she's playing a prank on her again. She thinks it's Annie, actually. Oh, no, first I get your famous chewing, now I get your famous squealing. Oh, great, thanks.
Yeah, she thinks they're fucking.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which, if you're that deep into it where you're making those noises, you wouldn't be focused on making a phone call, would you?
Mhm. They left it on the hook.
So obviously PJ Souls Linda ends up getting choked at that point, and Michael picks up the phone, he grabs, he's like, new phone, who dis? And he's just kind of breathing into the phone at Lori. I always thought an impersonation would be funny, like, oh no, it's just totally Annie, everything's fine over here, don't worry about it, bye. Lori goes to check on the kids. That's when Loomis outside notices the station wagon.
Finally. This
Yeah.
car's been all over town all day.
All fucking
Loomis
day.
is on the hunt and nobody sees this fucking car.
Jesus.
That's been trailing a bunch of teenagers all
for
day.
official use only. Man. So yeah, he runs over to it. I think the sheriff ends up driving by. He's like, "Oh yeah, I found the car." This is where we get Lori looks out the window and sees a light shut off again at the Wallaces, and she's like, "That don't seem right." So she starts walking across the street, and this is maybe the most upsetting part of the movie from a suspense standpoint, because the whole time she's just like drawn inexorably toward her doom, basically.
Right.
The whole time you're like, no, don't fucking go in there.
Right.
Don't go in that house. But yeah, she's just slowly walking across the street like, the fuck's up with this? What's going on, y'all?
Taking matters into her own hands when she should just call 911.
Yeah, just the slow tracking of that shot is fucking fantastic.
Score here was very huge too. The
Mhm.
music just matches everything that's happening with her.
Yeah, we get some more of the shadow play, which is fucking fantastic. The front door is locked. She goes around to the back and it's open, so she goes in, obviously, which, yeah, like you said, we got the ominous music going on. When she goes upstairs, that's when she discovers Annie in bed with the Judith Myers headstone above her, her throat slit, her friend is dead. Holy fuck me. Now shit has officially hit the fan.
The first best scream ever from Laurie Strode.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking A. So this is where she goes through her little, final girl discovering all the bodies thing. Bob swings down from the fucking closet for some reason.
Yeah, upside down.
Yeah.
Right.
Linda is like stuffed in a closet with the goofy, like, crossed eye look going on. Somebody mentioned, like, in 2018, because there's a part where the one babysitter gets killed and he puts like a sheet over her and like the whole sheet ghost thing, and people were like, what? That's not Michael's thing. He doesn't do that kind of shit. Bullshit. From movie fucking one, he is
Right.
staging
He's
bodies
staging bodies everywhere.
theatrically, like, it absolutely is his thing. So yeah, everybody's dead. There's another amazing lighting situation here where Lori backs up against the door frame of this, I don't know if it's a hallway or another room or whatever, but all of a sudden Michael's face just materializes behind her.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere.
He's not moving, but like what they ended up doing was putting like a blue gel on a light on a dimmer switch and just, just
it
enough
up.
to where you can barely see it.
Oh wow.
And then he comes out. I always love that fucking shot. But then as soon as he comes out, one of the dumber things in the movie, he goes to stab her and completely fucking whiffs it. His aim is terrible. Maybe he's got depth
For
perception.
the first time in this movie.
Yeah, maybe he's got depth perception issues because of the mask, I suppose. But he goes to stab her, fucking misses horribly, and fucking like just kind of swipes down her arm a
Yeah,
little
it gets
bit.
her arm.
Or does he do it on purpose?
I don't know why
Is
he
he
would.
like playing with his
I was
food,
gonna
kind
say,
of?
is he playing games? Could be.
I guess that's possible.
I'm not ready to kill you yet. Here you go. Here's a
Right.
spook.
But then Lori ends up falling over the fucking banister all the way to the ground. That had to hurt.
I'm surprised she got up from that, to be honest with you. It
Yeah.
looked like it was a little more painful
Well,
than the
She does fall on the steps, which I guess is, not quite as far a fall, I suppose.
Nice night for a neck injury.
Right.
In any other movie, that would have been curtains right there.
Right, for sure.
But the fucking chase is on, man. Michael has blocked all the exits in the house. She tries to get out. She ends up having to fucking like smash a door to actually get out. And that's when Michael is like trying to, you know, bash his way in through the kitchen door that she locked. And he's fucking pulling a "Here's Mikey" 2 years
Right.
before The Shining.
Yeah, he's got the kitchen door. Got a rake up against it.
Yeah.
Shoved underneath the door handle.
Braced with a rake.
Yep.
Man. She runs next door, and I guess the neighbors think she's pulling a prank because they just ignore the fuck out of her.
They just fucking shut the light off. I always love this scene. They're
Well,
like,
the light is off when she runs up. They turn it on and then back off again like, fuck
Like
you.
they're trying to judge what's going on outside the front door, and because it's Halloween, nobody's going to believe anything
Right.
she says.
another damn kid playing one of the pranks.
So she runs back across the street to the Doyles, and she's trying to get in. She's like, oh, the keys. Oh, no, I left the keys inside. Oh, God. And so she fucking like throws a potted plant up next to Tommy's window. And he fucking like sleepily comes to the window like, hey.
Oh yeah, very nonchalant. She's out
Yeah.
there screaming bloody murder, literally.
Who's there? Yeah, like,
Feels
get
like
your
it
shit
takes
together, kid.
Feels like it takes a few minutes for Tommy to get down to that door.
Yeah, dude. And the whole time Michael is just slowly walking across the
Right.
street, like, not worried about it. I'll catch up. But yeah, Tommy, hurry your fucking ass up, dude.
Open this fucking door, kid.
So
get in there, I'm gonna roundhouse your ass.
he finally does open the door, and this is where she tells him, you know, go back upstairs, lock the door, and this is where we get the line drop of "do as I say" for the first time, which that's another line that we'll hear 1,000 times from here on out in this franchise. She goes to make a call, but the phone is dead, and then she looks next to her, and the window in the living room is now open.
Fucking window, the door. Mikey does not have any bills at home, obviously.
No.
He's leaving all these windows open, all these doors open. Wow.
Son of a bitch, were you born in a barn?
Don't touch that thermostat, Mike.
Right.
So Lori is hanging out next to the couch, just kind of collapsed next to her knitting stuff, thank God.
Just like exhausted from running away.
Yeah. And Mikey stands up from behind the couch and then makes a noise, and she turns around and stabs him in the neck with her knitting needle.
Yeah. Oh.
But
This
then,
scene always gets me. It's always just like, oh, fuck.
yeah,
Ouch.
yeah, it would definitely hurt. But I mean,
I love the sound. He makes like an oomph.
yeah.
He's like, oh.
So he falls, which I don't really get. Like, that obviously isn't taking Michael Myers out. But I suppose this is before we got all of the movies with everything happening to him.
Right. Nothing big has really happened to him. He hasn't been blown the fuck up yet. You
Right.
know what I mean? So at this
Right.
point, even though he comes off as a monster, there's still a human side to him at this point, I think. We're so early in the franchise.
I would still, even so, it can't
He's
be
not
that.
dropping dead like that.
It can't,
Like,
it can't
Yeah,
be
not-
that easy, Lori.
Yeah, not that. That is awful silly of her to assume that he's dead after that. She
Right.
should have went over and finished the job.
And she keeps on dropping all of her tools and shit, too, man. This is
Yeah.
part of why I'm saying, like, she's kind of a little bit of a shitty final girl. I'm sorry,
drops
but
the needle, drops the knife.
yeah, the needle was bloody, which was a nice touch. We didn't get any blood in the ghost or the Bob kill scene, but we get a little bit here. Yeah, obviously he's not fucking dead. Loomis is out for an evening stroll outside, and then the kids end up, or no. I don't think the kids run out yet. Yeah, Loomis is out for his evening stroll, and the fucking sheriff drives by. And he's like, "Oh, I found the car." He's like, "Yeah, go around the back, and I'll hang out here. I'll fucking hold the fort down or whatever." And Lori thinks that she has killed Michael Myers, and she's talking to Tommy and Lindsay back upstairs again, right? And Tommy's talking more about the boogeyman and all this stuff, and she's like, "There's nothing to be scared of, okay? I killed him," as he's fucking walking up behind her. So she ends up shutting the kids in a room and locking them in, and then she goes back to the other room and she like tries to stage it so He thinks that she went out through the balcony and jumped out or something, but then she goes over to the closet and hangs out in there, which is obviously a terrible fucking idea. She like
worst idea.
Yeah, she like
Yes, just pin yourself in one position.
right. She ties the doors closed with something she finds inside. And my biggest issue here is she needs to stop fucking whimpering.
Yeah.
Like
If you were just quiet, he would have had no idea. He probably would have got there eventually. But
there's a chance that maybe he's not gonna, track. Maybe he does think you jumped out the balcony or whatever.
Yeah, he
But no.
turns around, leaves. You can actually jump out the balcony.
But no, she won't stop fucking going. Like,
She's
what the
terrified,
fuck, man?
Dustin.
Well, she's terrible, is what she is. But nope, of course, fucking Mikey busts through the fucking closet door. He gets all excited again. He's doing
Like
his
a
little,
fucking bull. He
Yeah.
just is like smashing around the closet.
doing
blinds.
his little grunting noises and shit. This is where she grabs a wire hanger and stabs him in the fucking eye with it. And then he drops the knife and she stabs him with that, and he finally collapses, which is fantastic. But then, more terrible fucking ideas. She walks out, sees him on the ground, and then she just throws the fucking knife right next to him.
Yep, I caught that immediately. That is the last place you want to leave that thing.
Son of a bitch, man.
I wonder if it's like a staging thing. It's just like, hey, you have to throw the knife down by him.
I guess, maybe. She goes and gets the kids again, and she goes, I want you to go down to the streets of Mackenzie's, do as I say, once again. This is where we get Michael Myers' 6-minute abs fucking sitting back.
Yes, straight
He sits up behind her like the fucking Undertaker once again. Legs don't move. Like, it fucking amazes me every time I see it. That shit's hard to do. But Loomis then outside sees the kids run outside and down the street screaming about the fucking boogeyman or whatever. And yeah, Mikey stands up and fucking lumbers up behind Lori and starts fucking choking her out again. Of course. This is where she rips his mask off. That's where we see Tony Moran. His eye's kind of fucked up. Is that just because of getting stabbed in it with the wire hanger, or was his eye kind of fucked up before?
I think so. Probably just he had to take that out of there. So
Okay, fair enough.
maybe it's just Tony Moran and the random struggle he had to do. Like
Right.
he's like, I'm in this movie for 2 minutes.
But thankfully, this is when Loomis runs in and shoots him 6 times, and ends up falling. Michael ends up falling off the fucking balcony, and that's where we get Lori's on the floor, and she's like, "It was the boogeyman," and Loomis confirms, as a matter of fact, it was. And of course, as soon as he goes over to check the balcony, he looks over, and Michael's fucking long gone. As is his
His MO.
tradition in fucking Halloween movies. But the ending of this movie is cool. We get a quick tour of all of the locations that we've been in throughout the runtime of the movie. Just kind of seeing the aftermath of everything, and the whole while we got the score going a little bit more, and Michael's just breathing. You can hear him breathing in that mask.
Yeah, the mask.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Suggesting that he's out there somewhere. And
Right.
we've got, the possibility for a sequel.
We've not seen the last of Michael Myers.
Yeah, which apparently John Carpenter never wanted, but they fucking insisted. And he apparently hated writing that movie. He was fucking just trying to get drunk every night just to get through it.
If he didn't want another movie to come out of this, he should have changed the ending, because I feel like if you had no plans, it wouldn't have ended the way it did.
Right.
It ends so abruptly, but Halloween 2 picks up directly where it ended. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's for him to say he didn't want one and to leave the movie like that.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't find that believable.
If
at
you
all.
truly didn't want a sequel, Michael wouldn't have been gone at the end. You wouldn't hear the
Right.
breathing during the scene shots. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
No, I think it's just such a cool fucking scene seeing, just the different locations, and we're just panning back and forth between things. Michael's breathing. Boom. Back out to the fucking credits. We got the score dropping again. Fucking fantastic. Yeah, this movie's a fucking classic for a reason,
Yeah, great movie. I'm glad we kind of got this one out of the way. There's a couple of them that I feel like are staples that we've been talking about. Oh, should we cover them?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's some we just have to get out of the way, and this is definitely one of the big ones.
Right. Yeah, like I said before, what do you say about this movie that hasn't been said 1,000 times already? But I mean, even so, I gave this movie 8 out of 10 station wagons. It's all about the vibes, man. The whole thing, like, you can't really write home much about the acting. The dialogue isn't phenomenal. There is some
Except
great...
for Donald Pleasance.
Donald Pleasance
The
is
only one
wonderful.
that gets any good lines in this movie.
Sure.
Outside of that, it's totally.
Yeah, some of that's pretty strong. But I mean, the fucking cinematography and the score just drive it home. They do all the heavy lifting in this movie.
And all on a shoestring budget.
Yeah, this is a beautiful, like, mood piece. You know?
Can't have Halloween without Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Yeah, this is a movie that if you don't have it as a part of your collection already, what the fuck are you doing?
Why are you listening to our podcast?
Right. Go and get it. Make sure you fucking
Watch it.
show your friends. Watch this movie at least once a year. It's fucking Halloween tradition, or you're not a horror fan. How about that?
I'm gonna say 8 out of 10 for this one too.
Nice.
You really can't touch it.
Yeah.
You know, as Nick said, watching this on a newer Blu-ray or 4K, it doesn't look like it's from 40, 50 years ago. You know,
Mhm.
it's something that's going to be there forever. It's a staple.
Yeah. Testament to Dean Cundy again.
Yeah, man. I'd probably say about the same thing. You got to knock a couple points for, the bad acting, and but that's about all you can knock it for. I mean,
Partially, we can chalk that up to it just being the 70s.
yeah.
Right.
They were all just hanging around smoking pot, making movies, right? So
And we're just hanging around talking about movies. But that being said, that'll about wrap it up for us this week. Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our little discussion on Halloween. Well, not on Halloween, but, on the movie Halloween. Never mind, you get it. Anyway, once again, you can contact us at cinebytespod@gmail.com. Follow our socials at Cinebytespod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you so choose, you can support the show at cinebytespod.buzzsprout.com. Next time, I'm not sure what it is exactly we've got, but I know we've got something good coming for you. So stay tuned, and we will catch you guys next time. As always, dreams are fleeting. Only nightmares last forever. Follow your nightmares.
Boy.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
I bid you well.